feed our puppy with our older two dogs? Should we separate them? The quick and easy answer is, for now, you should, especially if you're having any issues. What I would encourage you to do is feed your other dogs separate like you normally do, and then take the kibble from your puppy's meal and use it like treats, and use it to train with your puppy for just 5 minutes. So, because they're so excited, right? They're so eager to please, and we want to be careful giving them treats when they're excited. A whole nother subject. But use that feeding time to practice 3 or 4 sits, to walk around the house, let them follow you, and have them come to you and receive a reward. When you're raising a puppy, the whole concept is that they need to associate you with all good things, and mealtime is a perfect opportunity to take advantage of that. So for now, I would not only feed them separate, but I would use your puppy's kibble. And if you have kids, give them all a handful and let the puppy bounce around. You are just providing value to the humans when the human is the one giving the food or the treats or the praise. The breeder suggested puppy food that you've been using, that you purchased. Do you need to stay consistent until a certain age? When is it safe to switch? Great question. So puppy food is really important up to 6 months. So you want to leave them on puppy food until they reach the 6-month stage. After that, you want to start to merge them off into adult food. If you don't, that puppy food is so rich, so many calories because that puppy is growing, that you don't want to continue to give that for the lifespan of the dog, or they will eventually become overweight, unless you are like walking them 3 hours a day, which if you are, good for you. And I think we'll get to it here. You want to be careful watching the food on the bag. The food on the recommendation on the bag is never correct, ever. I mean, that's for I guess it's right for one dog. Whose dog that is, I don't know. So let me be your resource on the feeding amounts. When they're puppies, it's fine to give them like more than if they're eating it, right? Once they're done eating, you need to remove all food. Do not leave food in the bowls during the feeding process. That's one thing you don't want to do. Hope that answered your question. And be mindful. You can ask follow-up questions, so just jot down whatever you want. Again, these recordings will be on there for you. You obviously want Moose to sleep well through the night, so you've been trying to interrupt the million naps. I know, those dang puppy naps. Can we get some of those? How's that possible? That he takes during the day. Does it really help, or should I let him sleep wherever he chooses? So the biggest key that I tell people is puppies will play hard and they will sleep hard, and there's really not an in-between. So anytime you're not actively playing with your puppy or with your puppy, they should either be in their crate for a break time, or if they're just like falling asleep anywhere, scoop them up, take them to the crate, put them in, shut the gate, and let them nap in the crate. I put a schedule in the membership site that really easy peasy, 2-hour crate time in the morning, 2-hour crate time in the afternoon, and then another crate time in the evening after dinner. This is a great schedule to get on. It allows you to go to the gym, go to the grocery store, go do whatever work you need to do and not feel guilty about it. And there's a little checklist that I'll provide you of things you want to look at and check off before your dog goes into the crate. Because I know we'll get to it. Julie has had a couple poopy accidents, and I got a picture from her husband Doug, and it was not very delightful. I don't know who had to clean that up, but I'm glad it wasn't me. Something tells me Julie probably had to, but I don't know. But we'll get to that. All right, we good? Everybody following? Yes, everybody's good. All right. And I want to say something real quickly about breeders. I don't have a problem with breeders. I don't have a problem with dogs from breeders. Actually, that's the best way to, one of the best ways to know that you are going to have a genetically sound dog. But what I would tell you is that when people ask me vet questions, I say you need to go ask your vet. Breeders are not trainers, right? And that's okay. Some are, but the majority of them aren't. They do want the best for you and your dog, but once the dog is in your care, it's your dog. You do it's your dog, right? So this is great you're here. A lot of people don't have this resource day in and day out to stay consistent, because there's a lot of things we'll talk about that if you do them and you stick to them, you won't see immediate results, but you'll get the long-term results. And that's what I'll help you guys focus on, is don't be so concerned about fixing it now. Wrap your head around preventing it so that we create a habit of it not happening at all. That's going to be our goal. All right. And sleeping through the night, we can talk about that. But I say that crate is your safe haven. If somebody's, just because you're home doesn't mean that your dog needs to be out with you. That's not how it works. Be like, just because you're home, your kid should come home from school and spend time with you? No, no, no. Crate is there for a reason. Utilize it. Somebody, I can't remember who it was. It might have been Julie. I don't remember. But said they're home this week a little bit, but they're going back to their normal schedule next week. Get them on the crate schedule that you will be on next week now. Get them on it now. Do not wait. It will be a smoother transition if you start it now. Okay. Does all that make sense to everybody? And I can't see questions up there. So if you ask one or a follow-up question, feel free to do that, or you can jot them down and we can do them all at the end. Totally up to you. Okay, so you want Moose to sleep well through the night, so you've been trying to we did that one. Potty training. We have lots of doors in our house. Should we select one or two to use consistently so he knows where to go? Great question. The more consistently you can use one door in and out, the quicker you will have a dog that will go to that door and sit, or alert you, or let you know. If you're using multiple doors, it's okay to get your dog out to go potty. It's convenient for you, but it can be confusing for them. So by using the same door every time, you will create a habit that that dog knows out this door is where I need to go to the bathroom. And by establishing that now, your dog will eventually just go to that door and stare at it, stare at you, maybe bark. If any of you want to try the bell system, we can talk about that later or another time. But just using the same door right now, perfect. Crate training. He's 9 weeks old and you've only had him a few days. So so far he's been only been in his crate to sleep. I can do that because this was Julie. I can do that because I'm not at work next week, blah blah blah. Okay. So yeah, recap, get on the schedule now. If you're going to go use the restroom, or you're going to go take a shower, or you're going to brush your teeth, you're going to make a cup of coffee, and you're not watching that puppy, it needs to go in a crate, or it needs to be on a leash, and somebody needs to be holding it. This is what is crazy for people. If you're in the middle of potty training, put your puppy on a leash, and somebody has to be holding it. If no one wants to hold it, it goes back in the crate. But this will prevent your dog from sneaking off and going and having a potty somewhere. And we can talk more about why they do that. If you're having that issue. But if you have them on a leash for the first 1 to 2 months indoors, they will learn the system. They will learn where to go, and you'll learn their signs on how to get them where they need to be in time. All right. Yay, helpful, great. That's what we want. All right, toys. Scared he's going to choke on whatever he chews apart. So what are the best toys for puppies? Well, so first let's just address, anytime a puppy or anytime a toy gets destroyed or starting to get chewed or opened, it goes directly in the trash. Especially if you're doing like one of these services like BarkBox or this or that. A lot of those toys are very cheaply made. Doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. It just means once they're ripped up, trash. Trash can every time. If they're doing little chew bones, it's really important that when it gets down to about 25% left, that thing needs to go in the trash. Have to throw it away. That's stuff that can get stuck in their throat. And I tell people too, you don't need stuff in their crate. They don't even need a big old mat and all the stuff. Because through the potty training stages, it's just going to get pooped on. That plastic deal is fine. Most of you probably see your dogs laying on the kitchen floor anyway. So they love that. They're wearing a coat. They're wearing a blanket. Trust that. Okay? All right. How much should you be feeding? Okay. So we kind of touched on this a little bit ago, but when it comes to the food, as your dog gets older, the general rule of thumb is every 25 pound of dog gets 1 measuring cup of dry food. So I hope you're all doing dry food. If we get into foods and you're like looking at the farmer's dog or Ollie or all these other things, let's have that conversation first. It's a lot of trouble, it's expensive, and it's hard to get if you run out. And they will tell you to feed your dog more than what your dog really needs, because the more they eat, the more you buy. So I would stay away from any wet foods, stay away from any monthly order foods until we get them all trained up, and then I think we can have that conversation down the road. But as far as knowing how to feed, puppies are going to be different. It's more about getting them what they need when they need it. 3 times a day for a puppy until 6 months is what a vet would typically recommend. Within that, anywhere from half a cup to 3/4 of a cup each meal, but while they're eating, if they ever stop and leave any there, you need to take that food out of the bowl, put it back in the bag. That's why it's really great to do the meals by hand and feed that way, because when their attention span is gone, when they lose focus on you, meal's over. We're done. You didn't have to measure your food, right? And you don't have to do one kibble at a time. You can do a whole handful if you want, but that's the best thing. That's the best way, the best practice to do. It's just important. Keep those meal times at 3. Don't go, oh, it's 10 o'clock and they're starving, I'm going to give them more food. They probably just need some interaction or somebody to do something with them. Okay. Best feeding routine. Yeah, so 3 times. Really, it's up to your schedule. I like to do dinner time early, like 4:35, no later than 5:30. It gives your puppy enough time to empty their bowels before bedtime. And after 6 o'clock, no food or water. No food or water after 6 p.m. That way they can empty their bladder, go to bed, and not have to be in there trying to hold something that they can't hold. Do you guys like the visuals? Does it help when I do stuff like this? And then you go, oh, so when my dog does this? Sorry, I just saw myself do that and thought that's ridiculous. Okay. When feeding, okay, so now I think this is one of the wiser families. When feeding, prepping food, their puppy's jumping up, paws on the counter, how to prevent this. How should you prevent this? So the one thing is when you're preparing food, it's fine to have your puppy in the crate. Like there's nothing wrong with that. They don't need to be out while you're preparing their food. Here's what you want to prevent. You want to prevent your puppy from getting overly excited during the puppy feeding time, and or when you give them the food, they're all going crazy and we give them the food. That is encouraging crazy town. We've all been to crazy town. It's crazy in there. So you want to be really mindful that whatever state of mind your dog is in, when they receive something of value, you are encouraging that energy level. So if your puppy's excited, going crazy, and all the kids are loving all over it, you're teaching your dog, when you see a kid, go nuts, go crazy, and they'll come over and love on you. So if you want to prevent this, and I think there's a question in here about how to teach the dogs to not be so excited. Well, when new people are around, even your own family, if that dog is excited or going crazy or doing anything you don't want them to do, no touch, no talk, no eye contact. Totally ignore them. Totally ignore them. They'll go crazy, they'll have their little thing, and then eventually they'll start to calm down and think, what the heck is going on? Why is nobody, what's happening here, right? And that's the time that you can then go in and engage. And when they get excited again, we pull ourselves back and go, oh, no touch, no talk, no eye contact. All of those things are rewards. When we give them to our dog, we're encouraging what they are doing. Okay, we'll get into this when it comes to the jumping stuff. So that was an overview of that question. So you can keep the dog in the crate when you're preparing it. Then when it is food time, it is meal time, whatever, if that dog's jumping, they can't have food or treats. If that dog is running around crazy, they can't have food or treats. And you just set it back up on the counter and you just wait them out. And then they'll kind of meander around and look at you like you're a crazy person. Like, what are we doing? Boom, we pay a kibble. Ooh, that was nice. That was calm. I want to pay calm. I want to reward calm. You have to be calm to reward calm, right? So just keep that in mind when you're feeding. Whenever you give them a reward, food, praise, love, affection, attention, you are rewarding 2 things. You're rewarding where they are in the environment. So if you do it in the kitchen, you're teaching them come to the kitchen. And if you do it when they're all excited and going crazy, you're saying, go crazy, go to crazy town, and I'm going to give you a reward for it. And we want to prevent that. So doing the opposite will get you what you want. Okay, good. All right. Let's see, best feeding routine of that. Do you let the pup cry it out in the crate? If not, how do we enter the room without them crying? So we've all heard, or hopefully you have, if a puppy's crying in the crate, you don't want to consistently go let it out when it's crying, or the puppy goes, whenever I cry, somebody will come and save me, right? That's not your goal. But there are times when you can't wait for that crying to stop, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I got to get in there, let it out. They're going to crap their pants. Like, what am I doing? So one thing you can do is if they're in a closed room, is you can go to the room. Okay, this is an alarm to, I'll finish this and then I need to reset that camera. What you want to go to the room and before you enter, knock on the door or the wall or something just to make a brief interruption, like, and your puppy will stop for just like 2 seconds and be like, what was that? And then boom, you're in, right? And once you're in, stay calm, but then you can go to the crate and open it. There might be a little whimpering, but as long as we don't have the crying, you're moving in the right direction. And then there's a crate game that I'm going to want you to play, and I'll send you some more information on that. But I don't want to get into that right here. But it's all about not letting the dog out unless they're calm. Otherwise, you're going to have a rocket ship coming out of there every single time. Okay, so I'm going to stop this and restart it, and then we'll keep. Okay. All right, hope that makes sense. What should I do if the pup is pooping in the crate? I'm going to just guess this is Julie. Yeah, it's okay. So there is a pre-puppy checklist that I will put in the Facebook group. But the main things are, before you put your dog in the crate, you want to check these things off your list. Number one, has your puppy had the opportunity to go potty? Multiple times, once, twice, 3 times. Doesn't mean you go spend 15 minutes outside. Did you just take them outside? Did they have the opportunity once or twice before you put them in the crate? That's number one. Number two, when was the last time they ate or drank water? I mean, if you just tanked them up on water or you just fed them, not a good time to put them in the crate. So be mindful. Okay, I need to leave at 9:45, so no food or water after 8 a.m., right? Give them a good hour to 2 hour gap of no food or water before they go in the crate, if you can. And then the third thing to check off is make sure they've had adequate exercise, adequate playtime. A tired dog doesn't bark. A tired dog doesn't whine. A tired dog goes in there and sleeps. The more tired they are, the longer you can leave them in there without having any anxiety or disruptions. Okay, so that makes sense. So your 3 things are, when was the last time they went to potty? So did you give them a potty break? Have they had no food or water for 1 to 2 hours? And if they had, that's okay. During the play, you might just do extra play to help get their bowels going and get it out. If I remember seeing Julie's crate, and one of the things I don't know if that crate came with a divider, but if it did, you only want your crate size big enough for your puppy to be able to stand up and turn around. Any bigger than that, they'll poop in a corner and then eventually just get in it and play in it, and we don't want that to happen. So your crate should only be this, if you're having potty problems in the crate, just big enough for your dog to stand up and turn around. Any bigger than that, you're going to struggle with pottying in the crate. Okay, good. Julie's laughing. I mean, it's funny now. I don't think it was very funny yesterday, if that's when that was from, but that was pretty hilarious. I know Doug loved it. I mean, I have no doubt that's just right up his alley, cleaning up some dog poop, because he loves dogs, and he probably wants 4 or 5 more. I don't know. I'll have to talk to him about that. Okay. How can we teach the pup to stop biting and nipping? Are toys the only option? Biting. So that's the question. How do we stop the biting and nipping in the toys? So here's what I want you to think about. If I came to most of you on here that I can see, the Julies and Erica, are mothers. So if I came to you and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you're 6-year-old, what do we have to do to get them to stop playing? And every time they play, they yell and scream. How do we get them to stop doing that? Right? I mean, there's a point you would probably say, they're kids. That's what they do, right? So have the mindset that puppies are going to bite. Puppies are going to chew. That is just the way they explore the world, especially when they're teething. I mean, those teeth are sore and they're biting on things and they're chewing on things. So the toy, and that's what I tell families with kids especially, if you're going to engage the dog, you have to have a toy in your hand. So anybody who wants to play with the dog, I say, what's in your hands? If they have nothing in their hands, you can't play with the dog. Because now your hands are the toys, right? So have something in your hand, a rope, a chew toy, or whatever. You'll play with that, and then when you're done, you're done. You can't just stop and then expect the puppy not to come bite on you. So the play either passes off to another family member, or it's crate time, or it's out to potty and then crate time. But it's all about redirecting onto things that they can chew on. That's the goal. They're going to chew. They're going to bite. They're going to nip. Are they doing it on things that are appropriate? And if they're not, that's when you either have to redirect them onto something that is, or this is not a good time for play. This is not a good time for play. If nobody can do that, puppy goes out to potty, goes in the crate for break and downtime. Make sense? Okay. Let's see. Okay, so make sure I get to. While Erica's on here, I want to address. She was saying she was having some issues when she takes, I think it was the trash out, and whether it's the trash can or the wheelbarrow, whatever that is, that's definitely something you want to address. Not a huge issue, but the way you can counter condition these reactions, or they would call acclimate them to these sights and sounds, is what I would encourage you to do, Erica, is start very, very small. And instead of taking the pup out for the entire duration of the trash can activity, might seem nice to get him out and get him going. But what I would do is I would go to the trash can where it's sitting still with the puppy and maybe just touch the trash can and then pay the puppy with food or treats. And then touch it, pay. When the puppy's like, yeah, I don't care about that, then you might lift the lid up, pay. Lift the lid up, pay. Puppy's doing great. Lift the lid up, drop it, pay. Lift the lid up, drop it, pay. And your puppy's like, oh my gosh, this trash can is like a food dispenser. This is awesome, right? And slowly introduce them. And then when you're ready to roll it, you might just roll it 2 feet and then pay. 2 feet and then pay. 2 feet and then pay. That session's over. Puppy goes up, you take out the trash. Right? And each day, your threshold should increase. You just have to be mindful. If that dog stops taking treats or food or going to you for the food or praise or reward, then the dog's saying, that's too much. That's too scary. I can't handle it. That's your sign to go back to the last step that was successful. Drop the lid if that's where you were. Puppy does great. Pay. Put the puppy up. Take the trash out. And each day you'll get a little bit better. There is a method called flooding. Which if you continue to do what you were doing by just taking him out every time, you're basically flooding him. And as long as he's not being hurt or injured, some dogs will eventually just get over it with time. Other dogs, they could actually become more scared and more fearful because they never really were taught to associate it with something positive. Okay, so I don't know if Zephanie is here, but I'm going to go ahead and dive into her questions, and she can watch this back later. So her pup, June, started digging in the flowers. How can she stop this? So great question. We get it all the time. The truth is, when puppies are little, they really require 100% focus and attention. It would be like taking a toddler to a playground, right? And dropping them off and going to get a cup of coffee. Right? It's no different. And we'd come back and hope they didn't fall off the slide, hope they didn't run off, hope they didn't get into trouble, right? So when they're this puppy age and they're in the backyard, to keep them out of trouble, you have to be out there with them, redirecting, engaging them in positive play, keeping their attention focused on you. And when that's over, you go back inside and they go with you. And if you don't have time to spend them inside, they can just go in the crate. Hopefully that outdoor was part of that play before going back in the crate. So there is no way to stop them from digging in the backyard if you're not there. There's a lot of things people tried in the past. They like aired up a balloon, buried it under the ground, and if the dog dug, the balloon popped. But I mean, how do you get the dog to dig where the balloon is? I mean, you know what I mean? So the answer we don't want to hear is that we just have to go out there with them and guide them through the process. If they're ever going to be out there by themselves, the more tired they are before they go out, the less they'll dig, the less they'll chew on your cushions, the less they'll try to get out because they're just too tired. So that's something to keep in mind too. June isn't the best on leash, understandable at puppy age. And says she's walking like a bucking bronco, which that's a boxer for you too. And your little Frenchie Pixie is a good walker. Should you walk them together in hopes that June catches on? Need suggestions on leash walking. So yes, we're going to get into some leash walking but I can give you some very basics now. Number one, you want to walk them separately. But more importantly, I'd probably put it number one and walk them separately number two. Number one being most puppies at this age really aren't ready to go for walks outside. I know June's a little older, 6-7 months. But if they haven't been practicing walking inside, they're probably not ready to do well with it outside. So what does that mean? Indoors, at mealtime, other dogs away, limited distractions, walking with the treat, with the leash, and keeping them by your side. Taking one step, reward. One step, reward. Make a little obstacle course around your living room, and every 2 to 3 steps, reward. As long as the dog's at your side, you can maybe extend and get another step or two in there. If the puppy ever gets in front of you, simply turn around and call them back to your leg. So we can make a video of this and send it out to you. But until you can walk them continuously around your house, down your hallways, keeping them at your side, they're really not ready to go to the major leagues. I mean, that's what outside is. Right now, we have everybody in elementary school. We need a safe, controlled environment inside your home to practice and reinforce those skills before they're really tested outside. So I hope that makes sense. Crate training. So June is crate trained, which is the puppy. And she says she's gotten into a bad habit of letting her sleep in the bed, and now she cries when she puts her in a crate at night. She needs some consistency, but also enjoys having her with her at night. Would love feedback on this. Her Frenchie, who's a puppy mill dog, won't sleep in the crate, PTSD, so she's probably out, I'm assuming, in the bed most of the time. Is it okay to have the crate for her boxer in another room? I would recommend that the crate for any of your puppies, if you haven't done already, move it into another room. Put it into a pantry, a guest bedroom, somewhere where you can't hear them. They will be fine as long as you're not leaving them in there for 24 hours. Some people say, what is the length of time you can leave them in there? Well, all puppies are different. If they can sleep in there overnight for 8 hours, then you know that's okay. You don't want to go 8 hours during the day, 8 hours at night. That's too much at this age. But 2, 3, 4 hours time slots during the day, and then the 8 hour overnight, not a problem. I would encourage you, Zephanie, to make sure that I would encourage you to go no bed. I would say no bed or no furniture for any dog until they're a year old. I mean, just teaching them respect. But it's your choice. It's your dog. I will not judge you. I'll just tell you what you can expect. So if your puppy sleeps in your bed now, you can expect them to cry whenever you put them in your crate. So I would say be strong now. Do it right with June, because even though you're going to hear those, having him in our bed at this point is purely for our own joy. And I don't judge that, but I will say you will be more joyful down the road with the freedom of being able to use that crate whenever you want. So I would say get to a year mark, and then at that point, if you want to reward them on a weekend with sleeping in your bed, fantastic. If you want to merge over and let them sleep in your bed all the time, totally your choice. But I would love to see everybody set a 1-year goal of no dogs on furniture or in beds until they hit the 1-year mark. Obviously, it's your dog. You can do what you want. We can talk in a couple months when you allowed him to do it, and we can deal with those issues. That's why I'm here. Okay, that's a great question. We get that all the time. Okay, I think I zipped through all of those questions. So I can see the screen. Does anybody have any follow-up questions? Did I forget anybody's questions? I think I got all those. I felt like there were so many more, but does anybody have anything else or follow-up questions of what we talked about, or anything new, anything different? I'll double check and make sure that we answered all of those. I'm just logging back into the Perfect Pup to see if we got all those questions. We good? Yes. So 1 cup of food 3 times per day. So I think that's a fine place to start. That's a lot of food for a dog, 3 cups. I mean, when your dogs get older, so I have a 50-pound dog, a couple of 50-pound dogs, they get 1 cup of food in the morning and they get 1 cup of food at night. So 1 measuring cup per 25 pounds of dog. That's for grown dogs, right? So that's going to be your goal. For puppies, I would probably start with like half a cup to 3/4 of a cup 3 times a day. And if they're so here's how you can tell if they're getting enough. If you take your hands and you rub them over the sides of your dog without pressing in, so not this, right? I can't feel my ribs. I need to work on myself. So if you'll run your hands over their sides, if you can feel ribs protruding, then you need to feed them more, right? If you can run your hands over and you can't feel ribs protruding, or not protruding, but you can't feel ribs at all, you just feel like fat and skin, then you're probably feeding too much. But because they're playing so much, they're burning a lot of calories. They're burning a lot. And remember too, whatever you feed them, it's coming out. That's why it's so important to keep those food increments in those 3 slots and not be feeding them outside of that, so that their bowels can get on a schedule and you can anticipate when they need to go. So I would start with half to 2/3 of a cup 3 times a day, is what I would do, and then just check in with me, and if you're having any issues, we can go that. So good question from Chris. If he's starving in the morning, are we not feeding him enough? Good question. Dogs, a lot of times, they eat so fast that their stomachs can't tell their brain that they're full, right? And if you're feeding them when they're ravenous, there's no way. I mean, sometimes they'll eat so fast that they just vomit. They'll just throw it up, right? That's why using the food for a training session slows it down, rewards calm behavior, and you get a training session out of the way. So I really encourage you to take the first 2, 3 to 5 minutes of each meal. If you don't use their whole meal, at least use part of the beginnings of it, okay? So no, just because they act like they're starving doesn't mean you're not feeding them enough. That's just a puppy. I mean, that's like a kid, wanting ice cream, saying they're not hungry and then they want ice cream. Like, what are you talking about? So don't read into that necessarily. If we fed them until they acted like they weren't hungry anymore, I mean, that's what we do on Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? We get done eating, we should still want a little bit more. That's probably about right. Okay, yeah, thanks, Julie. Leash walking video, yeah. I could post something about that in the next couple of days. I probably have some videos on that. So, Julie says you're doing 2/3 to 3/4 of a cup 3 times per day. I think that's perfect. And as they grow, you can start to give them a little more. I'd probably stick with one amount for 2 to 3 weeks and see how you're doing. And then if you want to up it a little bit, I'd say you can. Just know that the bags, they're recommending way too much. Way too much. You don't need to do all that. This is going to be weird. I have this microphone on, so I'm going to clap to sync my sound. Has nothing to do with you guys. Okay. Good. Great. Those are all great. Okay, anything else? Feel free to throw one on there. A couple quick announcements for those of you that are on. Let me go back to my announcements page. So part of this program enrolls everybody in our monthly treat subscription. So I partner with 4 Kids in Enid, provides jobs for adults with disabilities, and we have a monthly subscription that you can that is included with this. You get 6 months for free. So I'm going to post a discount code and a link. You'll go to the website, you'll log in, you'll put your discount code in. It's not going to cost you anything. You do put your credit card in because it's reoccurring. So after 6 months, if you want to continue, you don't have to do anything. If you don't want to continue, you can let me know, or you can go into your own account and just turn it off. But it will ask you for a credit card, but as long as you put the code in that I give you, you'll get a fresh bag of treats each month for the next 6 months. From my partners at 4R Pups and 4R Kids over in Enid. And they sent a nice little letter in there with a photo and a picture, and it's really neat. So want to make sure you guys get that. This Facebook group is for us. We're the only ones in it, the people doing this program. So anything we talk about here, it's just us. So I think we have like maybe 6 or 7 dogs in the program. So this is for you guys. Ask questions. You can help each other. We'll plan a puppy socialization play date, hopefully once a month. I know I asked on some of your forums if you were willing to host. It wasn't mandatory that you did. I know some of you wouldn't mind having some puppies or dogs over to your backyard. The only caveat to all of that is we just want to make sure that every dog that comes is current on vaccinations. Most of your puppies won't be completely vaccinated. If they are, great, but they just need to be current, okay? So you don't have to have all your vaccinations to get together with other puppies as long as none of them are visibly sick. There's a study put out, I'll post it if I can remember, by a veterinarian saying that the benefits of socializing your puppies at this stage outweigh all of the negatives of taking your puppy into the public and them getting sick, right? Socialization between the ages of 4 weeks and 24 weeks is the most crucial time for your dog being friendly with other dogs. So remember that. I know we got Chris asked another question there, so get through these and we'll be good. And you guys know, I also, part of this program is I'm leaning on you guys for feedback. What works, what's working, what's not working. Not even with training, just like with logging in. Is the Facebook group good? Maybe, maybe we'll try a real Zoom or a Skype. We'll try different things. I want to know what works best for you guys. This obviously worked well today, but I know not everybody uses Facebook as much anymore. So please, all feedback is welcome. You're not going to tell me something that I'm, oh no, that I'm going to be upset about. We're trying to grow this here, and the only way I can do that is if I'm providing you guys everything you need in a quick and easy way. I want it all to be very, very accessible. This is trying to replace you having a problem and then spending 2 hours on YouTube getting 8 different answers. That's not going to help anybody. Okay. Chris, if we pick him up and hold him while we're sitting in a chair, is that the same as letting him on the furniture? So yes, it is the same as letting him on the furniture. You could just as easily put a pillow on the floor, sit on the pillow, and have him in your lap. Just as easy. The big difference is we, the human, had to move 3 feet, right? But you're establishing this is your area. This is our area. Down the road, you want to invite them to your area? Great. But if you let them freely on it now, it will eventually become their furniture. And what we don't want to have happen is any of these puppies become reactive or possessive, because when they think things are theirs, that's when they go, I don't want grandma to sit on the couch. I don't want my brother's friends to come over here. And that's when they can start to get reactive on the couch. We see it with small dogs all the time, Chihuahuas, because they're on the couch from the time they're puppies, and they take possession over these possessions. Those are yours. You paid for that furniture, not your dog. If your dog paid for it, then we need to talk about a different business that we could get into. So I just recommend, I'm just going to say it flat out, and this isn't to you, Chris, this is to everybody. Don't be lazy. Get on the ground with your dog. That's your dog's place. The furniture is your place. If you decide differently and tell me later, I'm not going to judge you. More than 50% of people let their dogs on their furniture. The issue is you could create more problems down the road by not establishing what is yours and what is theirs. The comparison to toddler behavior are super helpful. Yeah, it is true. Well, and another good way to think about letting puppies on the furniture now versus later would be like your toddler saying to, you guys know my son Blue, most of you, like we get in the car, Mom, let me have your phone. Mom, can I have your phone? Mom, can I have your phone? Well, first of all, he has his own crap, right? Use your own. What's wrong with yours? No, I'm kidding. Well, I'm not kidding. But because we've given it to him, and then he's like, and then eventually go, well, it's really my phone. Well, no, it's not your phone, right? So establishing what is whose, and then as they get older, they can earn the right to be on the furniture. They can earn the right to use the iPad. They can earn the freedoms and all the wonderful things that we can provide them and that the world can provide them. But if they don't earn them, they will have zero respect for them. And if they don't earn them from you, they will have zero respect for you. And respect is what you need to have a really, really solid relationship with your puppies. Julie needs me to talk to Brian about the furniture. He loves the older dog sitting with him on the couch. Totally get it. And I should talk to Brian. Maybe he needs a little one-on-one time. But what I say to spouses, first of all, I'll say this to you all. Everybody has to be on the same page. So you can't have one that's letting them and one that's not. You may as well just forget it and throw it out the window. What I would say to Brian, if this is the only part that he watches, is I love, my dogs get on the furniture, right? But they're all older, and they'll get off when I tell them to get off. If I see them going to get on it, I can say, leave it, and they'll walk away. If your puppy will do that, great. I say, because that's when they respect that is yours. It's not theirs. And when they respect it, that's when you have full control over those types of things. And when you have that control, I say let them on the furniture. But I doubt you do now. And so what I just remind people, having them on the furniture right now, that's for you. That's not for them. So go back to the kid analogy. Well, it's 11 o'clock at night, and I want to, go get an ice cream cone. Well, well, I should take my 6-year-old because I'd like some company. Well, it's 11 o'clock and they have school tomorrow. Well, I know, but I just love it. Right? I mean, it's that kind of stuff, right? We have to set some clear rules and boundaries. And when we do that, the dogs know what they can and can't do. Rules are clear. And then your puppies can flourish within those boundaries that you've created. No rules, no boundaries, no structure equals mass chaos. Yeah, and the older dogs probably do win, and you may not want to fight that battle, but I would say maybe you could tell him to let you make the call with the puppy. It's going to be hard if the puppy sees the other big dogs on there, just do the best you can. You're gonna have some things come up where you're gonna have to pick and choose your battles. May not be one you want to fight, but of all the rules that I encourage people to fight for, this is at the top of the list. Crate training for me is number one. Having the puppy on a leash indoors is really number two for me. And then number three is creating those rules and boundaries of no furniture until they're at least a year old. It's just very clear. The puppy doesn't care. The puppy only wants up there because everybody else is up there. Everybody gets on the ground. Puppy doesn't give a rat. Doesn't care at all about the furniture when nobody's on it, right? So it's not the furniture, it's just where everybody is.